This video is for anybody who cares about audiobooks and audiobook creators and wants to hear how Audible is screwing us again. So strap in, kids. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Hey there. Welcome back to the channel. I'm John Hartness. I'm the founder and publisher of Falstaff Books, an independent press based out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm the author of multiple ongoing series, including Quincy Harker Demon Hunter, Bubba the Monster Hunter, The Black Knight Chronicles, and a pile of other stuff. Something like 42 books and counting. And today I want to talk to you about audiobooks, not in the good way, not in the way that audiobooks are awesome and they give people another way to consume books and another revenue stream for authors to make a living. No, I want to talk to you about how Audible is up to their old tricks again. Some of you may remember back in 2020 to 2022, Audiblegate. You know, just what we needed when the world was ending. We needed another kerfuffle about money. That was back when Audible had a 365-day no questions asked return policy on audiobooks, whether you'd listened to it or not. Yes, that's right, kids. Used to be that if you had listened to an audiobook and decided not that you didn't want it, not that it wasn't a good book or that the quality wasn't up to snuff. No, if you just decided you wanted another audiobook, you could turn that audiobook in and get you another one. And you know who got hosed in that deal? The writers and the publishers. Because every time you turned that book in, we got back charged for the sale of the book that sometimes we'd already been paid for, frequently leading to authors getting negative royalty statements. Well, they stopped that mostly. They changed the cat. Stop scratching the back of my chair. If you want to come up and say hello to everybody, just jump on up here. You fat butt gets up here all the time anyway. Come on, come say hello. They love you. They're only here for the cat. They're only here for the Gandalf guest spots anyway, right? Oh, he's big mad now. Say hello to everybody, Floofy. See how mad he looks? That's how mad I am. You see, our hair, it matches. We're both all gray. You know why we're all gray? Because of stress. You know why we're stressed? Because Audible keeps doing underhanded garbage to pull money out of authors' pockets. So they backtracked a little on their you can send any audiobook back at any time policy. And now there's a shorter window, albeit not short enough to prevent abuse. But now, not only are they coming up with another scheme to make life more difficult for writers and make it harder for creators to make a living, they're hiding it and making it seem like they're doing a good thing for authors. You see, all of us who have books published by Audible got an email a while back saying, we are raising royalty rates. That's great, right? Authors and publishers are getting paid more money. If you trust a giant international corporation worth billions of dollars to be in the best interests of producers of content or product, I've got a bridge to sell you. Actually, I've got 10 bridges to sell you. They're the best bridges ever. Don't be stupid. Audible's not just giving away extra royalty money, although they certainly have it to burn. So we all got this announcement that Audible is raising royalties. It has been that if your book was exclusive to Audible, you got a 40% royalty. And if your book was not exclusive to Audible, you got a 25% royalty. We'll get to why they're also BSing about that in a little bit. They're moving that to 50% for exclusive titles and 30% for non-exclusive. But don't worry. Those numbers are largely meaningless because most people buy with credits. And credits have no fixed value. Because if you look at, let's say, what's a book that I have access to all that information? Let's try The Cambion Cycle, Quincy Harker Year 2. Quincy Harker Year 2 has a list price of $24.95. So if I get 40% of that as my royalty, I should get $9.98, right? Wrong. This does not stand for X going to give it to you. This stands for you're wrong. Well, maybe I get 40% of $17.46, which is the member price when a member buys it with a credit, right? X still going to give it to you, and you're still wrong. If someone buys a copy of Quincy Harker Year 2 with a credit, I get $5.12. That's neither 40% of the list price, nor is it 40% of the member price. If a member buys the book without using a credit, I get $5.59. Still not 40% of $24.95 and not 40% of $17.46. For an a la carte sale, which is a non-member buying the book without a credit, then I get $9.98, which is 40% of the member price. So Audible has always been playing fast and loose with math and definitions and all that jazz. Oh, and by the way, then those numbers for that particular book get split in half because I'm on a royalty share deal with my narrator. That's the deal we cut. It's been very lucrative for both of us. But the new deal is even worse. It's more opaque, and the parts that they're transparent about are still bad for authors. So here's the deal. There are two types of Audible memberships. There's Audible Plus, which is $7.95 a month, and that gives you access to their Plus catalog, and you can buy books from the premium catalog at the member price. Then there's Premium Plus. Why they don't have basic and premium? Because everything's got to be plus and premium and supersized, whatever. Premium Plus is $14.95 a month, and that gives you 1 credit each month and access to the Plus library. Now, the Plus library is a pile of all-you-can-listen titles, kind of like a streaming service. It's a bunch of public domain stuff like Frankenstein, for example. It's a lot of Audible originals, and it's some high-profile titles and high-profile authors included in there. Lord of the Rings is in Audible Plus. So it's not garbage that's in there. There are some very attractive titles, and a lot, or most, if not all, I haven't gone through the whole catalog. It's a lot of damn audiobooks, y'all. Most, if not all, of the Audible originals are in there, and there are Audible originals by some fantastic authors. Now, these books have historically been licensed for a one-time payment if they aren't public domain. That means that if, for example, they wanted to put Quincy Harker Year 2 in Audible Plus, and I agreed, I would get a one-time check. And then if it got 3 downloads or 3 million downloads, I would get no further money. Public domain work, they paid a narrator, and that's it. Mary Shelley, shockingly enough, is not getting paid for any downloads of the Frankenstein audiobook, nor are any of her heirs. The book's in public domain. Anyone can do anything they want with it. With premium, you get all that, and you get a credit, too. Now, since those all-you-can-listen titles didn't get royalties up until this new scheme, all the money spent on premium memberships in a month went toward royalties for the authors whose books were bought. But now, Audible's going to start paying royalties to the books in Audible Plus. Great, right? Wrong. But why don't you want those authors to get paid, John? One, a lot of them are dead, so they don't care. Two, a lot of them got paid a big chunk of money for their Audible original, and they signed a deal saying they weren't getting paid. But I do want authors to get paid. I just don't want them to get paid the way Audible's doing it under this plan. And before I go any further, let me explain to you that I am as guilty as 98% of other authors out there. When I saw this announcement, I glanced at it, blew through it, and deleted the email. I did not go digging deep into this until I saw a video by Daniel Greene, and even he admits that he didn't do all the digging. Most of that came from Robin Sullivan. And if you've been around fantasy for any time in the past couple of decades or self-publishing in the early 2000s, 2010s, the names Robin and Michael Sullivan are very familiar to you. Michael Sullivan is the author of the Ryeria Chronicles. This is the kickstarted limited edition Drummondor Ryeria book. It's a beautiful book. I've been a fan of his work for years. Robin is his wife and business manager, and she is widely regarded as one of the sharpest business minds in publishing and one of the sharpest people in independent publishing anywhere. So Robin did some digging and had some meetings and made some calls and had some more meetings and some more calls. And what she has discovered is how Audible is hosing writers in this new plan. And this is just wrong. So here's what's happening. Right now, if you buy a book with a credit, the value of that credit, however Audible assigns the value, and I believe that they assign the value of a credit by sacrificing a chicken under the light of a new moon while dancing naked to the strains of Toto's Africa, played on a djembe. And if that didn't put an image into your mind, I don't know what is. But now, moving forward, for people who are signed up for this new plan, if an Audible Premium Plus member uses a credit to buy an audiobook, and then in the same month, they go and listen to an Audible Plus title, part of the money from the credit gets diverted to the Audible Plus book. This is the one where nobody signed up for this. Nobody signed up to give away part of their royalties into this pool of Audible originals, public domain books, and Audible Plus titles. If you buy a book and then you listen to 2 books in the Audible Plus catalog, then it's divided even further. It can get to where the price of the credit is diluted so much that the author whose book is not in Audible Plus is getting less than $1 for every credit used. So now, even though the author never signed up to have their books in the Plus catalog, they're paying a part of their royalties to that catalog, and to the Audible originals, and to the public domain books, the ones that Audible doesn't have to pay anybody anything for. And the more books out of Plus that you listen to, the tinier those slices of pie become. Now, the current claim is that they aren't putting very many books into the all-you-can-listen catalog so that the pie doesn't get chopped up to tiny little bits. And if you believe that, well, we're back to me selling you bridges and you paying me cash on the barrelhead for them. You know as well as I do that as hard as Amazon and Audible are pushing AI narration, and I got an email today welcoming me to the beta of Audible's AI narration, which I have never signed up for. I have no flippin' interest in, because I love my narrators and would never take money from them like that. But there's a lot of unscrupulous, oh, look, we're 14 minutes in, assholes in the publishing business who will absolutely barf out a book with AI, then upload it to Amazon, have Audible barf out AI narration, and in 2 days, they've got a book on Audible, and that's going to get dumped into the Audible Plus catalog and chop up everyone's pieces of the pie further and further. You know it's going to happen because that's how these things always happen. So this is going to dilute the value of a credit more and more and more until any slice of the pie is barely enough to live on. Well, how should they do it, John? You know, funny enough, I'd said that Robin Sullivan's really smart, right? Well, she came up with a decent solution. Audible Plus is $7.95. Premium Plus is $14.95. That means that a credit should have a value of roughly $7, right? Because you get one credit for $7 more. Yes, I know there's a lot more to it, but we're going to keep the math simple. So, what Robin proposed is that a small portion of that $7 be set aside to go into the Audible Plus pool. And that way, whenever someone spends a credit, 80% of that credit value goes to the author whose book was purchased. Then 20% goes into the pool for all the Audible Plus stuff that listener listens to that month. And that's fair. I'd personally rather see the pool of streaming money come out of the base $7.95, but I'm not holding my breath for Audible or Amazon to do anything ethical. But that's not the only problem. The Audible Plus program is invite only. That means that if you don't write things that Audible likes, you're not getting in the club. That means that if you're not the type of writer that Audible likes, you're not getting in the club. So if you're an author of color, maybe you don't get in the club. If you're an LGBTQ plus author, maybe you don't get in the club. Maybe you write spicy romance and Audible decides they don't like that, so you don't get in the club. Maybe you write, gasp, male male or female female or trans spicy romance. Then you might not get in the club. Audible and Amazon, and at the end of the day, Jeff Bezos, get to decide who's in the club. So if you're not white enough, if you're not straight enough, if you're not whatever enough, they don't have to let you in. And you can see who's going to be on the outside looking in, right? Honestly, it's probably not going to be me. I'm a middle-aged straight white dude. I write fantasy and urban fantasy. My stuff will probably be invited into Audible Plus, or I can probably petition them to join it. I'm not going to, because I think it's hot garbage. Also, I don't like exclusivity agreements, so I'm trying to break away from as many of those as humanly possible. So what do we do, John? Well, I'm glad you asked. First, Robin has created a petition on change.org, and we'll put a link in the description. Please sign it. Get enough feedback and enough backlash out there, and Audible will respond. Enough people screeched about Audiblegate the last time that they changed their policies. But you're not a big enough name. I'm certainly not a big enough name. We need to talk to our editors. We need to talk to our publisher friends, our writer friends about this. We need them to stand up and be heard. And by them, I mean people who sell a flaming buttload of audiobooks. I'm talking Sanderson. I'm talking King. I'm talking Patterson. I'm talking Dinneman. I'm talking, I don't know who sells lots of romance because I don't listen to very much of it. But Rebecca Yarros moves a whole lot. John Scalzi moves a whole lot. These people need to speak up on this issue because it's their money getting sliced up too, and their agents need to step up and fight for their clients. When Audiblegate came around, agents were completely silent on this issue, at least as far as I could ever tell. We, as creators, control the content. If we start pulling all our books, Audible has to respond. I don't sell enough books for them to care. My entire publishing company doesn't sell in a month what Brandon Sanderson does on one title. And I know I don't have any proof of this, except deep in my gut, I know damn well that Brandon and his people are going to be making a whole bunch of phone calls and sending a whole bunch of emails because they used him. He stood up against Audiblegate, and they showed him this new model early, and he came out and said it was probably a good thing. And he got snookered because they didn't give him all the information, because Brandon's not going to crap on people that way. So I'm sure that there are things happening behind the scenes that I'm not privy to. But it's time to not be behind the scenes. But you know what else you can do? You right there. You can buy direct. You can support creators and narrators directly. If there are alternatives to Audible, use them. Libby and Hoopla are apps that you can put on your phone, and you can download audiobooks from the library. And publishers get paid every time you do that. Some deals are per listen, and some deals are per copy purchased. Sound Booth Theater, who produces the Dungeon Crawler Carl audiobooks, they have a fantastic app and platform that you can buy audiobooks direct from them. Download their app. Get Matt's stuff off the Sound Booth app instead of getting it off Audible. And more artists and authors are setting up Shopify sites and distributing audiobooks on their own platforms. So you can support individual artists and not these mega corporations. Because what they're trying to do is eventually set up a streaming service for books. Eventually, their end goal, I believe, no, I haven't talked to anybody up there, but look at the way industries have happened, and you'll see that this is the way they want it to be. They want it to be where you pay one monthly subscription fee on your Amazon Prime, and you can stream as many audiobooks and read as many ebooks as you want, and they only have to pay the authors pennies, because that's what Spotify did with music. And if you ever want to have an artist get really fired up, ask them how much they make per song. So that's where they're headed. It's probably not going to be this year, it's not going to be next year, but that's their end game, is to maximize their revenue and minimize their costs. So what we'll end up with is authors who have been making the majority of their living off digital sales are going to see that revenue shrink and shrink and shrink, and writing for a living is going to become harder and harder. And then we're all going to have to make really pretty editions of our books, which I love a limited edition. That's why I'm holding one in my hand. But we're going to have to shift our focus back to print, and the print distribution channels are still really kind of bad. So fight for the authors that you want to keep reading. Or you just won't have as many options, or not as many good ones. So please, go sign the petition. Please consider how you can support authors and narrators more directly, and talk about this crap. I'll certainly be talking about it all next week at DragonCon. Till the next time. Bye, y'all.